Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried and Jensen. As proud sponsors of Beliefcast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires Beliefcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and for believing in me and supporting this. It means the world to me. I also like to thank our sponsors, Morii Nutrition. They have a calm drink, which is the official drink of the Beliefcast now, which is really cool. Siegfried and Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, and Thread Wallets. You guys are the best. Thank you for trusting me and believing me. And then the music you heard at the beginning and the end of this podcast is by my good friend Paul Cardall. He's an award-winning pianist. He's got 25 million active listeners. The guy's amazing, and he's allowed me to use his music. So thank you so much, Paul. And today I'm sitting with three incredible human beings, people who I know have been through hell several times in their life and back, and three people I really look up to. We got Zeb Hasna, Trevor Butterfield, and Dustin Grigg. Three guys that came through Wasatch Recovery. It's been a while since they've been through this program. No one maybe at that time gave them a chance. Thought there's no way they're going to make it. No way they're going to pull out of this lifestyle that they were living. Three of the roughest dudes I ever met initially in treatment. But yet, three of the most incredible human beings that I know who have big hearts. They want to make a difference. Dustin especially has been on me to do this podcast, and I love he doesn't give up, man. He made this happen today, so thank you, Dustin.
No problem.
So yeah, we're just gonna have a conversation today. All four of us are in recovery. Doing well in that regards, but we all have challenges still in our lives. We all still have stuff we're doing. All of you are doing some good stuff in your life that I want to hear about. But let's talk about, maybe we'll start with you, Trevor. We first met, God, how long ago was that when you were here?
Would have been 2014, so it's coming up on 10 years.
Dude, crazy. And tell us a little bit about you. Let our listeners know what you're doing now. You're married, you got kids, all that fun stuff.
Yep. So I'm married and I have two kids now. I have a 5-year-old daughter and a almost 2-year-old son. He'll be 2 in January. After going through treatment and getting sober, I wanted to get into some form of giving back, and I kind of bounced back and forth between working in the treatment industry, and then I ended up going to barber school and opening my own barber shop out in Idaho, which gave me a sense of purpose and giving back in a different way than I was used to. My wife and I decided to move back to Utah a little over a year ago. And when we moved back, she works in the treatment industry as well, and she had gotten back into working in the treatment industry, and it really reignited that flame in me and brought me back to working or wanting to work in treatment. So for the last year and a half, I've been working back in the treatment field as well. Currently, I do marketing and business development, so working with other treatment facilities throughout the state and some out of state, and then working with clients and their families to get them into treatment.
And who are you working for?
I work for Wasatch Treatment Services.
Give them a shout out, yeah, absolutely.
A little shout out. Up in Heber, we have a male facility in Heber and a female facility in Park City.
Right on. Very cool. Right on. So Zeb, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, and tell us when were you here last?
So I came right after.
Put the mic closer there.
I came right after Trevor in 14 too. So coming up on 10 years in August.
Awesome.
I am not doing anything in like recovery wise for work. I work for the Garfs and I sell Hondas.
I actually bought a car from you.
Yeah, got a rare one. Got a rare Accord.
I need another car, so
I got you.
Yeah, here you go.
I'll plug myself on this. Hit me up if you need a car. We got some recovery discounts going on.
Awesome.
But I've been with Haley 10 years as well too. So me and Haley met right before I came here, and we've trucked through that whole situation too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we actually tried to break you guys up in the beginning.
Yep.
Maybe.
And not because we thought anything ill of her. It's just like, man, we wanted you to concentrate on you for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Haley. I think the world over, and she's a great person.
Yeah, she is. She's been through hell with me, so and
Yeah.
she stuck around. So
Right.
and we actually we had our first kid, Zia. She just turned 1 in November, and then we have another one on the way. So
Oh yeah.
we're excited about that.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dustin, tell us a little bit about when were you here last, and then just a little bit about what you're doing.
So I came before Trevor in, I don't know, 2013, 2014, and then I came back with Trevor and Zeb.
Yeah.
But after getting out of treatment, I was still very lost. Didn't
Yeah.
know what direction to go. So I just bounced around with jobs and met my wife, who is, my rock in this whole journey that we call life right now.
Yeah. Right.
And she kind of pushed me to get into a trade that I always wanted to get into, but I just never did, which was working for the union and doing sheet metal.
Okay.
So now I work for a company called Unitech Manufacturing, and it's a 5-year-long apprenticeship, which I'm on my 5th year right now.
Nice.
And by the time I get done, I'll journey out and everything will be good.
Right on.
But yeah, it's good. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and being a dad, I'm sure everyone here can attest that being a dad is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I always
sure.
knew that it would change my life. I just didn't know to what extent it would change, and it has just blown all my expectations out of the water,
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah, it's so true. When you have a kid, how your perspectives change.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like instantly.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, the stuff I was worrying about over here doesn't seem to matter so much anymore, right?
Not so important.
And then you get hit with all the other fears that come with having a kid too. Like you just worried about them every 2 seconds.
Yeah,
You're like,
especially right after they're born.
Mhm.
If they
Yeah.
have like a little
like-
cough, you don't
Yeah.
know
It's
what
like
to
you're
do.
never dating anyone. I'm
Yeah,
telling
oh.
you.
Yeah, I'm still saying that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had 3 girls, man, and I would be like, oh, I'd always think ahead like of the dating years. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna handle that. You know, 'cause
Yep.
we know how we are,
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
right?
Yep.
And I'm like, holy cow! But again, it changes your perspective. It's like, wow, the way we look at women, the way we treat them, all that means so much more, and it's different the moment you have a daughter. Or, I don't know, just my perspective changed in a hurry too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like people, if you're in active addiction or in recovery, I feel like when you find out you're having a kid or after you have a kid, it really pushes you either to the edge and you completely relapse and lose everything you work for, continuing your addiction, or it brings you right to the other side and you never look back.
Whoa, that's a good way to put it. Let's talk about that for a second. Why? And I totally, we see it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Why does it, why does it push someone to that edge where they say they just go blow up their life even more? Because you think it would be the opposite, but that happens more often.
There's a lot of
when we're-
stress coming with knowing that you're going to have a kid,
Yeah.
and a lot of people just can't deal with that, so it's easier especially when you're in active addiction to, forget about that stress and numb it
Yeah.
instead of running
Yeah,
towards it.
and they probably think like, yeah, I can barely take care of myself right now. How am I going to take care of another human being?
Yeah, right. I
Right,
can't
yeah.
even do me, let
Mhm.
alone someone else. Yeah.
And you're already, if you're in active addiction, you already have low self-esteem and negative self-talk and all the
Right.
stuff that comes with it. So when you're in that moment, it's like, well, how am I going to show up for this kid? How am I going to afford this kid? What can I do to better myself right now? And I know for me, but part of my story is I got sober the day after I found out that my wife was pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we found out that she was pregnant and she was just barely along. And the next day I checked into treatment and got sober, and I've never looked back. So I'm one of the lucky ones, or one of the ones
Yeah.
that put in the work
Yeah.
to be on the other side of the
Because it's
fence.
still work, even
Yeah.
though you made the decision. Okay, but you had to still put in a
Yeah.
ton of work.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, kids are amazing. As you're saying, Dustin, like how they're the greatest thing that you can't even imagine until you have one, right?
Yeah. I mean, I tell my wife all the time because I just go up and I grab my daughter and I'm like, gosh, I love you so much, you know, but like the love between a parent and a child is it's so different from any other love that you felt, you know, as a person, and at least to me. And,
No, I'm sure.
you know,
100%. It's like the most unconditional thing you can have in the world. Like,
and it's like, you know, I can be so mad at you 1 second and then you just do something cute and it's just like, gosh, I love you, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah, and it helped me understand my parents better too. You know, especially going through all the addiction and everything else, like being on the other side of the fence now, I'm like, wow, sorry. You know, a lot of sorries because
dude,
you
that's
look
a
back,
humbling thought, right?
It brought me and my parents 1,000 times closer, and it really, I mean, the act of having a kid and being a grandparent, right, obviously does, but I completely flipped who I was as a person and understood it.
Yeah, and here's the tough thought. I mean, can you even imagine your kids putting you through what you put your parents through?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, can you even imagine this thing you love so much could cause you so much pain at the time, you know? Yeah. And again, I know you guys, none of us purposely go out to hurt our parents.
Right.
But man, like you said, it puts it in perspective in a hurry when you have your own and you go, wow, I wouldn't want this kid to suffer.
There's so much worry there.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. You nailed it, Trevor, with
Yeah.
about the parents, and I don't know, it just makes you look at things from a different angle, all different angles, and yeah.
That's crazy.
So each one of you guys are obviously, you know, doing well when it comes to being in recovery. I'd love to hear from you guys. Just like, what do you do to kind of keep yourself centered and keep yourself on track? I mean, giving back's a big thing. I know you guys are all about that, but what are some things you can maybe share with us that you're doing that helps you to stay in line with your values and being there and being that example for your family, I guess? Love to hear your thoughts. Any one of you, all of you.
For me, I guess it's connection, right? You talk about it a lot. It's connecting with people who have what or are doing what you want to do or doing more than you want to do and who you want to be like. For me, it's been family, you know, reconnecting with family and growing those relationships and spending time that I lost over my years of addiction with them, you know, making up for lost time. I think it's finding stuff that you're passionate about, whether it's hobbies or work or whatever else it is, but something you can kind of lose yourself in when you're in one of those moments and you're struggling, and something that just brings you joy. You know, I think a lot of times people get their entire world wrapped up in addiction recovery, you know?
Yeah.
And I think finding outlets to people who are not in recovery or people who haven't struggled with addiction, just to be able to build those connections and kind of become, quote unquote, a normal member of society.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I agree with that. Connection's powerful, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with Trevor, like family. Like having a daughter over the last year, just diving full force into that, trying to, you know, I grew up without a dad. I mean, my dad was around, but he was in prison most of my life. And I think I've told myself over and over again, I'm going to be the father that I never had. And I kind of just dive full force into that. I'm not big in like doing a lot of stuff in recovery anymore like I was. I've kind of found mentors in work and, you know, kind of switched up people who haven't even been in recovery. But yeah, no, just like Trevor hit it on the head. It's just family, like making up for lost time, the whole parent thing. Like I'm closer with my mom than I've been in a long time. I see her probably every day because I live down the street, and I just bring my daughter over to see her all the time. And even my stepdad, like I've connected with my stepdad more than we ever have since we had Zia.
Yeah. I ran into your mom at the Pinners conference, and just when we talked about you, she just teared up and just loves you so much, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
These two guys said it, you know, family, connections, but I think also trying to surround myself with people who are going to lift me to a higher level of vibration or just that next level period.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've all kind of been in that circle of knowing that the people around us aren't obviously the best people to hang out with. And especially after getting out of recovery and excluding myself from, you know, that negative energy and just the negative people that were around all of us, you know, looking on my hand, it's pretty much only one person that, you know, I hang out with now, which is my wife,
Right.
you know, and it's just, you see people's true colors after getting out and you doing what's best for you and, you know, spending that time with the people that make you better day in and day out. You know, that's just how I want to keep moving forward. It's just spending time with the people I love the most.
I love it. I heard it once said that you're never more fully alive than when you're connected.
Love
right?
it.
Yeah.
And especially when it's, again, whether it's your wife or your mom or your dad or just family, your kids. I mean, you know, my family, we get together typically almost every Friday night, and we work out together, and then we get food together, and we watch a movie together. I mean, the grandkids are there, everyone. I'm just like, man, this is it.
That's what it's all about.
This is what it's. Yeah, that's when I feel most fully alive in that moment, is when I'm just hanging with them, right? And then even this, you know, even though we don't talk a lot all the time, but man, I feel like you're my kids. Like, I hate to say that, I'm that much older than you guys. I want to say I'm just one among you, but I mean, I really feel that way. Like you're like, I would do anything for you guys. And that connection to me means the world. And I like what you said too, Trevor, about, you know, it's good to even break away a little bit from the recovery culture, because I think sometimes people get almost addicted to that.
100%.
And it's like they haven't moved on, if you will. Not that we don't want to. That's a bad thing.
Right.
But if you're relying on that the rest of your time, sometimes that could be a negative. But so I appreciate what you said. It's like, it's good to break out of that and have other connections. And that's all three of you are doing that, obviously, right? Which is really cool.
Well, you taught us the way with rational recovery. It's just on yourself, right? Like, you see, like we saw for years, and we talk about it all the time. We had friends that were in AA like full force, and they would relapse like 5 or 6 times because they were just around that environment where it's like you could just go back and start over the next day, and no one kind of held you accountable there. Like, and then when you hold yourself accountable, that's the most that you could ever give yourself.
At the end of the day, it comes down to the individual. But when we do that, obviously having the community helps as well. But yeah, I totally agree. I really do.
I wasn't trying to shit on AA.
I know.
Just like a perspective, but
Sorry, AA. Don't worry. So I want to share a quote with you guys, and want to hear your thoughts. Okay, we're just gonna go for it here. I was listening to Chris Williamson's podcast, and this guy's amazing. And he shared this quote, and I think the quote's by, and I hope I'm going to butcher this name. It's Dippin Parmar. But the quote goes like this: "The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding."
It's doing things you don't want to do.
So you'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, isn't that powerful though? The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, I think it was you that always told me, you know, you can do tough things, you can do hard things. And you always said a quote, and I'm going to butcher it too, but it was something about you get up to the fence and on the other side is greatness. What that quote, you remember that quote that you used to say?
Yeah.
And I think it's all tied in. It's like all the stuff that you're avoiding, whether it's work or relationships or mending things, you're living in a stagnant area. You know, if you're working through those things, you know, it creates the magic, right?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Usually the hardest things are always the ones that are worth doing. Like, and we've been through it all. We've done one of the hardest things you could ever do. Like, getting clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I try to apply that like when I'm struggling. It's like, come on, dude. Like this is easy compared to what you've been through, and you still can't get over the hump. Like you've done way harder things than this. Like
Yeah. I love that you said that, because I think we almost like you guys overcoming addiction and the things you've been through. Like you see on social media people running 100 miles and, doing 10,000 push-ups and crazy stuff.
David Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Shout
yeah,
out
okay,
David
let's
Goggins.
look at Goggins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Goggins. But at the same time, what you guys have done is no less a triumph than what he's doing.
Yeah, it's just different.
But it's different. But I think sometimes we don't equate those together. What you guys have done is unbelievable.
I think we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Yeah.
I know personally I don't give myself enough credit. My wife always tells me you got to start giving yourself more credit, because I personally just don't think I've done enough. And I look at myself every day in the mirror, and
Yeah.
I just always feel like there's more to be done, and I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if it's still me just trying to like do something like this, give back, or go speak, or just, I don't know, do something. But
Yeah.
I just think personally, with everything that we have all gone through, it's time to, take some credit for ourselves and be
Yeah.
proud of where we have gotten to,
Yeah.
because, 9 times out of 10, we're not going to make it.
Yeah. So true.
I feel. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just feel like when you're in your first couple years of recovery or whatever, it's really easy to remember all the stuff that you've been through, because mostly you're still mending the fences, right?
Yeah.
But when you're this far down the road, it almost seems like another lifetime for me. I don't
it's
know
hard
about
to,
you
it's
guys.
hard to get
but,
lost in that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was because my wife Amanda's in recovery too. We actually have the same day that we got sober, but it was probably around year 3 or 4, and nobody called or texted or said congratulations on hitting 4 years or whatever it
Yeah.
was. And she was butthurt about it, right? And I was like, what's the issue? And she was like, well, I just thought someone would acknowledge it. And I was like, they don't need to anymore. We've made it here this far. People don't view us as that person anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not an addict and Trevor are not attached together anymore. Now it's just Trevor.
Ooh. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true though. Because before it was your identity.
100%.
It's like, oh, here's the junkies.
Yep.
Here's what. Oh, you made it 30 days without putting poison in your body. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I always hated the analogy, once an addict, always an addict.
Thank
Same.
you.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like no, that's not true.
Nope.
Because you can be doing so much good in this life, and you are, Trevor said it right. You are no longer attached to
Yeah.
this, being that everyone sees you as.
Yeah, I had a client sitting right here this past week, and I looked at her. I go, hey, are you an addict? She goes, oh yeah. And I go, oh, did you use today? No. Did you use yesterday? No. The day before? No. The day before? No. The day before? No. I go, it sounds like you used to be.
Exactly.
Yep.
And dude, her mind was like, couldn't wrap it. She's like, what are you telling me here? I go, well, you used to be. Look, we're here to talk facts. Everyone right here, us right here, we used to be. We're no longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're right. When you get to a certain point, you just no longer have to. That is not. It's what I used to do,
Yeah.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, this is. I love this because this girl was just like, what the hell
Just
are you
blown
talking?
away.
Blown away. Like what? I go, but you'll sit there and label yourself an addict over and over and over and over and over and over again. Why? You used to be. Tell the truth. I go, do you want to tell the truth? She goes, yeah. I go, so then say you used to be. Because that's the fact.
Yeah, I still think we all have those defense mechanisms,
Sure.
from
And I get where she's coming from.
back in the day,
Yeah.
when we were all going through our shit.
Yeah,
That
totally.
still come up to this day, and I'll like catch myself and be like, "What? Wait, no, that's not it. That's not right." And then move on from there. But they still come up, and it's just trying to acknowledge those thoughts, those feelings, and move on.
Right.
And I think that's for everybody
Yeah,
in or out of
for sure,
recovery.
for sure.
Right?
For
Like
sure.
negative self-talk, all that stuff is for anyone in
Yeah,
this world.
100%.
Absolutely. We're all the same in
Yeah.
that realm, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I hear this a lot too. Yeah, I feel like I got to date people who are in recovery. And I don't necessarily always believe that. Not that that's a bad thing. Obviously, I mean, you and your wife are killing it.
Yeah, but I don't recommend what we did.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I know. That's why I was like, okay, how's this going to go?
Yeah, they'll be like, do you want to come tell your guys a story? And I'm like, nah, you don't want me to come tell that in inpatient. I promise you that, because it's a bad idea.
But what I hear is, I go, well, why do you feel like you need to date someone in recovery? Like, well, they'll understand me. And I said, no. I go, you can date someone outside recovery, but everyone understands what it feels like to be alone. Mm-hmm. To feel lonely, to feel less than, to not good enough, right? That's really what that all is. You just numbed it out with drugs or alcohol. Right. This person has their own numbing mechanism. It may not have been drugs or alcohol. It might have been Netflix or sleeping in or not sleeping at all. I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah. We're all the same. I get you. I get you. Oh, you're an addict? Okay, but I still get you because I know what it feels like to feel lonely and less than, and I'll never make it. That's where you and I can, connect. Yeah.
It's so crazy to think that those are like the main thoughts when you're going through your addiction, or even now. Yeah. It's just the negative talks. It's so rare. I feel like it, and this is me personally. It's so rare when, I truly, truly believe, the positive things. Like, I feel like this world and so many people around you are just filled with so much negativity that it just drains everything. And, it seeps into your soul and everything, and it starts to drain you. And you got to be one strong mother to get through it.
Well, you really have grown. You didn't say the F word. That's amazing.
I'm trying to hold back on swearing, Like,
I love it.
I try to keep my name dropping and whatnot away from my daughter and stuff, but it still comes out all the time.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know.
I love it.
Because I do love to swear.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you have to.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in treatment. I mean, dude, some of the groups we had with you guys, holy, man. I wish we had like video of it, right? Yeah. You guys.
That'd be reality TV.
True reality TV. I mean, Trevor and I talk about this a lot, man. I mean, so I've been here at Wasatch, coming up on 10 years-ish. Maybe it's 9. I don't know, 9, 10 years, something like that. Anyway, remember when that kid we were referring to later came at you in group, threw a pin at you, and jumped up? We had to hold this guy back in group.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Were you in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Zeb was there, too.
Yeah, we were all in there.
I might have came after. I don't remember.
Trevor just was poking the bear with this kid, and this kid stands up, for those listening, and throws a pin. And I'm telling you, he's like 2 feet away from Trevor. And it goes right past his head. I'm telling you, if it would have poked you, it would have took your eye out. It would have it would have stuck in your head. He threw it that hard. Yeah. And he was a husky big kid, and it took like 5 of us to hold this kid back. And good old Trevor just kept poking the bear as we're holding him. I'm like, Trevor, shut up, dude.
Yeah,
and he just kept poking and poking him and poking him. And then one time, there was a female. We won't name her name. Stood up and walked over, was going to punch Trevor right in the mouth. Yeah. And we had to stop her.
Yeah.
But you were really good at
I'm sure
just jabbing people.
Times, yeah, I did deserve it both times.
Oh, he for sure did. We should have let her hit you. That's what we should have done.
We should have. Me and her still talk about that when we see each other. So
do you?
Yeah. She's still sober and a great person,
Yeah. Well, I guess we can say Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah. She's doing great. Yeah. I love her. But that was again, videos. But all of you, what I love about all 3 of you, honestly, about when you were in treatment here, is you didn't hold back. Like, you weren't guarded, if that makes sense.
I was the first time coming.
Well, you are to a point, but at the same time, you would at least admit it. And you would, I don't know, you guys felt very vulnerable to me in that sense. And you guys eventually, especially, Zeb's the first time you ever processed is probably the most raw process I've ever been involved with. Yeah. We were talking about that earlier, and we never usually see that on the very first process in front of a bunch of strangers, how you opened up. So let's talk a little bit about vulnerability and why, at least in these settings, how that's powerful and how that changes us and transforms us. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, vulnerability is key. because if you're not being vulnerable with yourself, you're not going to get better. And by the time I had come here, I'd kind of already hit my brink. Like, I never had been in treatment before. You know, I didn't have insurance. I was unemployed. I detoxed in my mom's basement when I came here. So I had finally just hit it. I knew how expensive this place was. Bless Mark and Jeff. They saved my life. They let me go here for free. Otherwise, I would have ended up at, what's that, mental health hospital?
VOA.
And I would have left in 2 days, right? Like, I knew that I came here for a reason, and I had to work on myself, so I was just ready. I figured I was in a room full of people who have probably done worse shit than I had done or the same thing.
Yeah.
So I just was ready to open up, and I knew that I had to just be honest with myself or I was never going to get better.
Yeah. Wow. Love that. Yeah, again, seeing you guys, it truly was, it was magical. It was crazy. It was heartwarming. It was hard. It was sad. I mean, all the emotions watching you guys go through what you were going through and trying to fight just this mindset of you're broken, you're an addict, you'll be a junkie the rest of your life. You know, I mean, I think the first time I think you looked at me like, who's this freaking clown?
Yeah. I had just got here and was already trying to leave.
Yeah. You were right out here, right outside.
Yeah.
Over here just smoking, and he had just the cockiest look on, and I was just like, I want to smack this kid so bad.
But you kept me there that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came out and
You're
sat with
the
you
only
right
reason I stayed, and then took off from there. But I was waiting on my taxi.
Were you here like 115 days after
I was
that?
under 121 days, yeah.
As long as it
121
takes,
days.
though, right?
Yeah.
As long as it
Yeah.
takes.
It was crazy. Well, it took another time after that, but
That's all right.
Well, yeah, and again, how many second chances have we all had, and how many of them have we had?
way
Multiple,
more.
right?
Yeah, hundreds.
Hundreds. And again, I respected that you guys came back, because that just says, okay, I didn't quite get what I maybe needed to get, or I'm still in a bad mindset. I need to get some more schooling, if you will, and I'm willing to do that. I respect anyone that would do that.
Well,
There's no shame in coming
It's a
back.
hard thing to do in itself, to come back
Dude,
here after
totally.
the way we railed on each other in groups, and then you come back in here and it's just like, all right, you know.
Well, and I
Dude,
worked
totally.
here. I worked here
That's
for
right, yeah.
a good amount of time, and then came back as a client. And that was like the ultimate.
Yeah.
I remember calling Todd, telling him that I was going to come back, and talking to Mark and Jeff, and God bless them, because like Zeb, they also let me come back here for free. I had no insurance, I had nothing, and Zeb and I are both products of scholarships. You know what I mean? But
Amazing.
I remember you and Mark and Gary and everybody being like, this is going to be the ultimate test of how humble you're willing to be and how vulnerable you're willing to be, because obviously we missed something. You missed something along the way, and this is going to be your last chance to get it right.
Yeah.
And this last time in treatment was the first and last time that I actually laid everything out on the table.
Yeah.
And that was rough.
Yeah.
That treatment stay was rough.
Rough but beautiful at the same. Like, from my perspective, watching people go share heavy things, it's beautiful to watch. It's hard, obviously, when you're going through it yourself, right?
Yeah.
But it's beautiful to watch, because you know that, man, your heart's changing, it's softening up, and it's just a cool thing to witness.
What you said, Todd, but I think it's so awesome, especially like doing this right now, seeing people that you've seen struggle and have their problems in life, and see how good they are doing.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing to witness with your own eyes, just how vulnerable we've all been, and still to this day, because we wouldn't all be here right now if we weren't continuing to be vulnerable and continuing to go down, the path that we're choosing to go down.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of vulnerability, I'm going to ask you guys to get a little vulnerable here. Dustin, your brother passed about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that, if you don't mind, and just how that's affected you, because there's a lot of reasons that people will use to go, well, this is too much, I'm going to go blow up my life.
Yeah.
I can't do this, or whatever. And totally understandable. And everyone goes through traumas and things like that. And I know this has been a really tough thing for you.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing just kind of what happened and just what you've been going through? And then you guys can chime in with what you think.
Excuse me. So back up a little bit. A week before my brother passed, he passed on May 31st. I got the call at 11:05 p.m. But a week before that, one of my best friends, growing up, childhood best friend, I got the call when I was at work that he had overdosed and died. And, you know, throughout mine and my wife's relationship, you know, there was always people, you know, around your circle that you grew up with that, you know, don't make it. And of course it's sad. It's heartbreaking. You know, I'll shed a tear here and there, but I always told my wife, you know, if something happened to my brother, I don't know what I would do, you know, and I always would say that because he was, you know, he wasn't just my brother. He was my father figure, my best friend, my brother. You know, he was my guide pretty much in life. You know, I wanted to do everything that he did. And that's another reason why I got into the construction trade, because my brother was an iron worker.
Oh, okay.
And
what was your brother's name?
Ryan Grigg.
Shout out to Ryan.
Shout out Ryan. I know he's smiling right now and he's truly happy about what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But going to May 31st, I got the call at 11:05 p.m. and it was from my sister, and she was just screaming on the phone saying, you know, Ryan's dead. And I went into complete shock. I couldn't talk. I didn't cry, but I just didn't know what was truly going on.
Yeah.
And my little sister said, we have to go tell my mom. And we had to go to her house and wake her up and tell her that her firstborn child had died. And
oh boy.
She just, the second she saw me, she just dropped in my arms. And, you know, just the pain was so much for all of us, but for her especially. And yeah, it would be so easy for me to just go numb it and not have to feel what I've been feeling for the last 6 months. But for one, I know my brother wouldn't be proud of me for that.
Yeah.
He would want me to continue to keep doing what I'm doing and continue to live as though he is still here, because he is still here. I've seen with my own two eyes the signs of him still being here. And, you know, I couldn't do it to myself with all the hard work that I've put into this as well. And that's going back to giving ourselves some credit. I'm not going to throw all that away. I'm not going to do that to my wife. I'm not going to do that to my daughter. I'm not going to do that to my mom.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to do it. And it's been very, very hard. You know, I wake up still every day for the last 6 months, and I think it was a dream.
Yeah, it's almost like, is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have a AK or a AR-15 bullet that I hang in my rearview mirror, and it has some of his ashes in it. And, you know, every day I'll grab it and I'll just talk to him and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
But if you guys don't mind, I'd like to tell you one of the signs that I saw firsthand.
Please. Yeah.
So I'm the type of person that I need proof. Like I know that there's another side, you know, I've seen the good, but like when you have someone so close to you die, like I want to know that he's somewhere else living a, you know, beautiful
Right.
life and everything. And, you know, I was just walking, me and my wife and my daughter were just walking on a trail, and I was just talking to him. I was like, hey, if you're here with me, show me a blue feather. And we just kept walking, went about our day, and we got home, and I put a show on the TV for my daughter, and I was cooking, and I look up, and the second I look up, a blue feather comes down from the TV. And then 2 minutes after that, I get a text message, and it's from my brother's fiance. And she said, "Look at this blue feather I saw right outside my door."
Damn.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like that right there, I know 100% without a doubt my brother is here. He is okay. And that's what keeps me going and wanting to continue and not just buckle.
Right.
You know?
Wow.
So it's been hard, but
powerful.
I'm trying to find the positives in everything. And there is a silver lining with every situation that life throws at you.
Dang. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
I got chills when you said that. That was pretty deep, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to you, dude. That's probably the toughest thing I could think of. I have not lost anybody close to me yet, which I'm lucky for. Like, I'm thankful. But I think that would be one of the things that would probably take me close to going back over the edge, is losing my, like, I'm the older brother. So I'm the one who feels like I have to be responsible for my brothers and kind of show them, hey, I can get out of this. If you guys got into a situation like that, you get in too.
Right.
You could get out of it too. But I don't know what I would do. So kudos to you, dude, because you've toughed it through.
Yeah.
Like,
And I know how close you and Ryan were, you know. It's something that I hate to see you go through and anyone go through, but I think you've done an incredible job, you know.
Trying, man. That's all we can do, really, right? Is just try and keep going.
Try to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Live every day better than you did the day before.
Yeah. So, Trevor, I'm going to put you on the spot. We had probably one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had here at Wasatch Recovery with you and Cash and Brady.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth, we don't have to go into every detail of it, but do you mind sharing your perspective of that experience and kind of what was going on, and just kind of paint the picture for us a little bit? Is that all right?
Yeah. I don't remember the details fully, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you do. But I remember the scenario and the situation and what happened.
Well, I can say this. Brady was being picked on by you and Cash.
Yeah.
And Brady was in a rough spot. And Brady would invite it as well. So it's not, but you and you and Cash had such a presence at the time in recovery, meaning like the house kind of looked up to you guys. They followed your lead. If you guys were screwing around, then the whole house was screwing around. If you guys were doing good, the house would do good. And I saw this dynamic going on, and you guys just clashing with Brady all the time, poking at him, all this stuff. And I finally was like, what do I do to change this up?
Yeah.
So that kind of set the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I remember it was early too. It was early in the morning, and you called me, Cash, and Brady into your office, and you had a video for us to watch, and we sat there together, and none of us wanted to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty sure Brady tried to get up and leave a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you were like, just sit your ass down and let's get through this, right?
Let's just sit here.
And I still remember the video to this day, but I remember sitting there watching it, and you said, I want you guys to basically shut up and not say a word, just watch this. You guys don't have to talk to each other right yet. Just watch this. And we sat there and watched the video, and I think I'm remembering right that when by the end of the video we were all in tears. We were all in tears.
The whole room was crying.
Yeah, the whole room was crying, and it was like that battle that we had been fighting for weeks and weeks and weeks just collapsed right there. And I remember we all stood up, hugged each other, and apologized. And it was from that point on.
Yeah.
We weren't best friends, right? But there were never issues.
Yeah.
It was like all the issues that had happened prior were completely wiped away.
Yeah, it was like this, if you will, for lack of a better word, but what it was is there was hatred amongst you three, if you will, and then left that room, and that room was filled with love. I don't even know how to explain it to people like who are listening. It's like it was a God moment. It was because this video was about this girl that was being picked on at school, and what she went through, and what was going through her mind and the sadness this poor girl was going through, which really represented Brady in this. And then the other kids that were bullying her represented you and Cash.
Yeah.
But it put it in such a perspective of, oh, man, this is what's going on. And to see you three stand up, everyone's crying, and you guys hug it out and say, we're sorry.
Yeah.
And to see what it did for Brady and for you two and for me to witness it.
Yeah.
But it was it was a truly God moment. I mean, I felt inspired to go, I got to get these three in here to show them this. And I did. I said, you guys shut up and just listen to watch this, and then we'll see what happens out. I didn't have to say anything even after. They stood up and hugged and said, we're so sorry.
It was like
That's
silent.
amazing.
It was silent for a good 30 seconds. Dude. And shout out to my boy Cash, but he's going to break in that silence, but we, I remember that. I think that forever changed my life and changed, I'm sure, Cash and Brady's life too, you know.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
To witness that, and I share that story all the time, dude. Yeah. Seriously. And there's been times where I've showed that same video to the entire group because the whole group wasn't getting along. And it's just crazy. Tears.
Yeah.
And I think deep down, every one of us, especially when we're going through our addictions and stuff, we have so much built up hatred, whether it's towards ourselves or other people, and we feel justified in it. And when that wall can come down, that's when our hearts just start to kind of open up and they heal and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just still think it's such a hard thing to do even now, to let that guard down.
Right.
It's something that I know we're all going to be working on, till the day we die.
Yeah.
We're always going to feel like, is this enough? Or, trying to reach that next pinnacle. And, eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all found at least one person that we're willing to lower that guard down and open up to, right? And that's our wives,
Yep.
And we have that one person we can rely on. That's one more than we had than the day we walked into this treatment center.
100%,
Boy,
brother.
that's true.
100%.
Yeah, the crowd.
Shout out to all the wives.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, shout out to the wives, right?
For sticking through all the bullshit.
Yeah,
for sure.
And we've already kind of talked about it, Zeb, when you opened up that very first group. Again, very rare. I've been doing this for 30 years.
Powerful, man.
I rarely see someone on day one get in front of a bunch of strangers and pour out their soul with all the stuff that you shared. And we don't need to have you share all those
so
details.
Wild.
Because
Zeb just unloaded his entire life story.
And
everybody else is beating around the bush, and Zeb's like,
everyone's going,
here's all of it.
I was like going, what is going on here? And you were emotional. You were crying.
That was raw.
To see you do that, dude, was like a moment for me going, wow, who is this dude? Yeah. And I knew right then you were in it to win it.
Yep.
Like that tells me this guy wants to change. He doesn't care what anyone thinks, but I'm going to be real with you, and here's what I've done in my life. That was one of the best moments as well.
Well, and he set the tone moving forward.
Yeah, right.
We had a little ticky-tack bullshit groups prior to that, and then Zeb came in and just dropped that bomb, and from then on, everybody was like trying to out vulnerable Zeb. You know what I mean?
That shit wasn't working.
Like, he just said it right there.
Yeah. Are you guys good on time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
I mean, we came in and we joked about how groups are weak now and stuff like that, like coming around here. Like, I don't think I would have made it without those groups. The groups that we had collectively, I mean, because we got so close as a house that we just called each other straight out on our bullshit every time. Like, we knew each other so well, we could tell when someone was bullshitting to get out of group. And I just don't think I would have made it without that, with those groups. Like,
yeah, and what I saw you three, what I saw about you guys is, maybe you mentioned, Dustin, you were a little guarded at first. That's pretty typical and understandable.
Yeah,
that's why this was so shocking when Zeb did that.
Exactly.
But I'd be guarded too.
Yeah.
But you guys ended up being leaders, and that's all three of you. And I think that's why you're here today. Like, you turned into leaders because you finally started doing the right things in treatment. Like, you started following the rules. You started holding people accountable. You would call people out when they weren't doing what they should. I just want you to know, from my perspective, that's why I think you're sitting here today, because you decided in treatment that I'm going to be a leader and I'm going to start doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Well, I think also, exactly that. You know, I think before, at least for me, before drugs and alcohol got involved, I think we all were leaders, you
Yeah.
know, and then drugs and alcohol got involved and we decided to be a follower because it felt comfortable for us.
yeah.
And that was the new norm. And then once we got clean, you know, it feels so good to be back over that wall and being that leader again, for our wives, our family and everything like that. It just going from here to there, you know, it's like, I don't even want to go back to that, you know.
But both of you were leaders in the addiction world too, you know, and I think include myself, right? Like I remember my mom saying at one point during my addiction, she's like, I always knew you were a leader. I always knew that you had the power to sway people and, you know, get people to follow.
Sure.
Right.
She's like, but it's either good or bad. And she's like, when you're in your addiction, you're leading everybody straight to hell, right?
Yep.
And that's
Dude,
it.
you, Trevor, that's so perfect on you. You have such a power about you, and you are good at that. And sometimes it was for the wrong reasons and leading people the wrong way. Yeah. I noticed that about you when I first met you. I'm like, man, this guy can really influence people for the bad.
Cult leader type stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you. Like, we laugh about it a little bit, but truly, but to see you flip that and go, no, I'm going to use that, if you will, superpower for good and to lead people maybe in a different direction, which you're obviously doing, which is really cool. Yeah. I always say, like when people first get here, they feel weak. They feel, you know, just like they're playing
drained.
small and drained.
Yeah.
But I look at them and said, no, you're strong as hell. Look, being a drug addict is hard. Being clean is hard. Choose your hard.
Yeah,
It's hard to be a drug
always
addict.
used to say that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
But think about it. It's hard to go find drugs. It's hard to go find money. It's hard to lie to your family. It's hard to hide shit. It's hard to you guys, you're tough as hell.
We made that look so simple though.
But you were doing it in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
All you had to do is shift that power over in this direction into the positive, and that's why. Because again, I always laugh and I'm like, oh, I'm just weak. No, you're not. You're strong as hell. And they just look at me like, what? No, look what you're doing. That's hard. But this is hard too. So which hard do you want? Like, you get to pick. And right now, it seems easy because you've been doing this for a long time. But anyway,
It's simple.
simple
And powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Gosh, I love doing this. This is amazing.
It's good stuff.
Like,
Yeah, the vibe in this room right now and the connection we're feeling.
I
Again,
appreciate each and every one of you right now.
Yeah,
Like, always have, but
yeah.
you know, it's amazing to get to
Well,
do
it's
this.
funny. It's been so long since we've been together, but yet it feels like we never left.
Yeah,
Here we are
for
sitting
sure.
here. We're having our own little process group.
Look how grown up we all are.
That's a
It's
crazy
been
thing.
10 years, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
we all are
crazy.
grown up too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mind
It just makes
blowing.
me so proud that I went through all this with you guys, and to come back 10 years later, 10 years, and here we are sitting down talking about life like
Right.
we never left.
Yeah, there's a popular saying right now, and I say it a lot, and I think it originated honestly from James Allen back in the early 1900s, and then Jim Carrey made it a lot more popular because he's so famous. Is life happens for you, and you think about it, like you just said, you're so grateful for going through all this, Dustin, and I am too. Like, this is what blows my mind when I really kind of contemplate. I took my first drink at 11 years old. I was 11. I should be playing with like G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
So 11 years now, that opened up the door to my hell, if you will. Didn't know it at the time. And that led to just my addiction, losing a scholarship, all this stuff, back and forth. Should be dead too. But I'm grateful for it. And it actually happened for me. And it happened for this moment. Like, think about it. Had I not had that drink at 11, we wouldn't be sitting here this very moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same with your story, Trevor, and yours, Zeb, and yours, Dustin. Had you not gone through what you went through, we wouldn't be here today. So, therefore, it happened for us, because people who are going to listen to this episode are going to gain something from this. I mean, I don't say this lightly, and I don't say it arrogantly either, that this could save someone's life. Because if you three, and I'll put me in there too. If we can change our lives and get through this, I mean, anyone can
do it,
right?
Yeah.
But do you think it happened? Do you see how? Do you agree with that statement? Like it happens for us?
Yes.
100%. I don't know about you guys. Like pulling up here, I kind of reminisced on being 24-year-old Zeb when I walked into this place, and I remember my mentality when I was there, and I thought I was going to be dead in like 3 years. Yeah. If you would have asked me where I was headed, death. And now I just sit and reflect. Yeah. And I remember I was the type like. Yeah, I would get vulnerable and tell the truth, but when I'd hear other people talking, I would always just be like, man, shut the fuck up. Like when like people would come talk to us who were like 10 years down the road, like, and I just remember like wouldn't even take it as a grain of salt. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like,
you don't know.
And now
me.
I'm here.
Yep.
I'm that guy 10 years later. And I literally owe everything to coming here and the work I did, because I wouldn't have Haley. I wouldn't have Zia. I probably wouldn't have my mom and my brothers, because who knows where I would have ended up if I didn't come in here and put the work in. Yeah. And
or you might be 6 feet under. You wouldn't wouldn't even have the
exactly. And it's just like the self-reflect I have every time I come here. It's powerful. Like
dang.
This place changes people.
It does, and it's God's timing that we were all in here together, and the whole group that we're with. Right. I think. Something, and Wasatch may not do this anymore, but when we came through, I think one of the coolest things is, going to numerous treatment centers. I've seen different approaches to therapy, all that stuff. Wasatch, like, we ran the group. Mm-hmm. We didn't go in a group and have somebody standing at a whiteboard. This is how your brain works. This is why it's a disease, and all that other stuff that would come across it, right? But they would go in and just say, who has shit today? Who needs to process something? And then it would turn into me saying something, Zeb pitching in, Dustin pitching in, and then it turned into an entire group effort healing each other together. Yeah. And instead of a therapist sitting there trying to heal 20 people, it was 20 people trying to heal each other and help each other.
It was beautiful to see and be a part of, for sure.
We had a young house too.
Yeah.
That had to have been, like, age-wise, the youngest house in Wasatch history.
It was, I don't think we had anyone over
28
maybe. Yeah. I was a young crowd. But again, that's what I'm saying. You guys led the charge in that, which was awesome. Like anyone, I mean, it's hard. We can't speak to anyone right now who's in treatment, man. Right. But if you start becoming a leader in treatment, you'll typically take that on when you leave.
Yeah, in
life.
And
that's what you guys did, right? Yeah. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you half-ass treatment, you're going to half-ass your life. Yeah. If you break rules in treatment, you're just going to keep breaking rules when you leave. You know what? You know what's interesting from doing this for so many years now, and it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. I've noticed that people who break the rules in treatment, and some of the rules seem silly, right? Go out and relapse. The ones that follow the rules in treatment, like even the ones that are like, that's a dumb rule, but I'm following it because that's what they tell me to do. They don't relapse. Now, I know it's not 100%, but I think it's close. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the way it's designed,
Yeah,
like
totally.
You need to follow rules out there in the real life, so why not follow them here? And when you follow them in a place where you're trying to get your life back together, I just think it's just the way that it's set up to make you succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think some of the rules, right? Like the rules that we don't understand, that we don't like, they're put there for that reason, right?
For sure.
They're just to test you, to build you. Weekends here are intentionally boring because life's boring, and they try and teach you to work through that and navigate it and find ways to entertain yourself. But I will say that you and I have a mutual client who had to come back through here, and he called me from here one day a few months back and was like, I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing the best I've ever done. And I was like, that's awesome. He said, I'm not even vaping in my room. And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, Todd told me even the little rules to follow it, and I'll continue forward and I'll be able to stay sober, so I'm not even vaping in my room. And I was like, just that little thing was so powerful because He's still struggled a little bit since then,
Sure.
obviously, but he's done better than he ever did before, and that he was following the simple rules.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy.
It's integrity is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Comes down to, are you going to do the right thing when no one's looking?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been our problems when we were in our active addiction. We were always really sneaky and shady behind the scenes, right? We weren't doing the right thing when no one was looking. No one's looking. Oh, I'm going to go do all this bad stuff. No one's going to know. But the moment we're by ourselves, we go, I'm not doing that. And there's no one there to cheer us on.
Yeah.
Kind of like when, Amanda didn't get the
Yeah.
4-year, hey, good job.
Yeah.
Like, where is it? Like, when you don't need that anymore,
Yeah.
man, you're like, okay,
You
my
made
life
it.
truly has changed,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, I think I want to ask another, maybe a last question to each one of you, okay? And obviously this is a heavy one. We'll start with you, Dustin, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question. If there's someone listening to us right now, they've been listening to this whole episode, and here we are getting close to the end, and they're struggling. They're in a dark place. They feel like they can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell that one person right now?
So the first thing that just came to my head, and I'm going to butcher this quote, but
It's all right.
it's, I believe, the fox, the boy, the horse, and the mole. And the horse goes through a forest, and the little boy is coming through the forest, and the little boy saying, I can't make it through, and the horse turns back and says, well, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yeah. And the horse says, well, just take that. So just one step at a time. Don't look for the home run ball or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look months, years down the way. Just take that first initial step and just keep doing that day after day. Just start with one day, though. Here, the now, the present.
Wow. Love it. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Zeb, what would you say?
He's always been that way. I gotta follow it.
Yeah. Good luck following that one.
I mean, just going back to what I said, like just when I used to sit and laugh at those dudes that came and talked to me and would tell me how life would be great down the road, it really does get better. Like, and I'm living it right now, and I believe it wholeheartedly now. Like, it gets better if you want to just get vulnerable with yourself and work through your shit. It will get better, and you will know how to guide yourself from then on. Like, Todd, we've talked like before, like everyone, like all three of us, they told us we had like a 1% chance of not coming back, and I held that so hard like the first 4 years. I remember thinking in my head, and you were talking about how you never see Julie. I think I said fuck Julie like 7 times a year just because, and I know she did it to motivate me now. Like the grown up in me
For sure.
doesn't take it as an insult anymore, but that motivated me to stay sober more than anything, I think. And it's weird, like that.
Yeah.
That's what clicked. But
Yeah.
I know it's kind of off, but it gets better. Like that's all I can say.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Zeb. Trevor, what would you say to that person who's struggling?
Don't overcomplicate it. I think the basis of this episode, if you've listened this far, is it really is a simple solution. It's just a matter of doing it. I think a lot of people, think that there's no possible way that they can make it out of where they're at. And I think for me, I had somebody tell me early on that, it doesn't matter how lost you are or how bad you've messed up, your parents are waiting for you at home, right?
Yeah.
And there's somebody, whether it's your parents, loved one, friend, family, there's somebody waiting for you to come back out of that, and they're willing to help you. You just have to take that first step and be willing to help yourself. That's really it.
Yeah. Again, beautifully said. Because I promise you there is someone listening right now who's struggling. Promise you.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, though.
And your words will save someone's life. I really believe that. And if you are listening to this and you're in a dark place, I had a client in House 1 say this. It was probably about almost a year and a half ago now. Well, maybe it's been about a year, but I was having everyone stand up. And I go, say something that's on your heart today. Just What is it? I don't know. I was just winging in this kind of group,
Those are the best groups.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this guy stands up and says this, and I fell out of my chair. And I was like, holy cow. And I'm like, I'm stealing that from you. I'm going to put it to my memory because this is what it's all about. And here's what he said. I tried to find myself I could not see. I tried to find my God eluded me. I tried to find my brother, I found all three. And I thought, wow.
Damn.
I'm like, that's where it's at. I think sometimes when we're struggling, maybe most of the time when we're struggling, we don't think about stepping outside of ourselves to make someone's day or to help someone. It's like the disease of me. It's all about me now. And I get it, because it's hard when you're in that mindset. And you might be in that, whoever's listening to this right now. But if you can get out of yourself, even if you held the door for someone and paid them a compliment, hey, have a good day. Hey, love your shirt. Something genuine, simple little contact like that can save your life. I have clients where I have them go to their schools and hold the door before school starts for 15 minutes, and it saves their life.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they doing? They're finding their brother and sister every time they walk through the door. Hey, you look great today. Love your shoes. Hey, your hair looks great today. Simple little thing like that. And if you're that person right now who's struggling, I challenge you, go hold a door for someone. It might seem weird. It might seem kooky. I promise you, it will brighten your day. It will make a difference.
Also, make your bed every morning.
Yeah.
You guys, I still do that to this day, and I still get mad at my wife when she doesn't do it when I leave for work and I come home and the bed's not made.
Like, honey,
You
gotta be making
you
that
guys
bed.
told us no matter how shitty of a day you have, if you make your bed in the morning and you come back into your room, your bed will be made, and at least one thing was right.
Yeah.
The
psychology of seeing a made bed after even a tough day.
Yes.
What it does to you is it actually boosts you up a little bit.
And I still do that to this day. I cannot not make my bed.
I didn't believe it till I tried it.
Right?
You know what I mean? I was like, all right, yeah.
All right, I'll
But
make
it does.
the bed.
Yeah.
Zeb's like, I don't make my bed.
I don't know. I don't get the analogy. of
Zeb's
that
like, I don't
stuff.
even sleep in a bed. I'm on the floor.
No, Haley makes a bed for me too, but I've never got that analogy too, but yeah, maybe I'll have to try it.
Zeb,
See,
come
learn
on,
new
dude.
things
10 years, dude. Yeah, 10 years. Try it, bro.
Dude,
Make my bed finally.
We're calling you out, Zeb.
I
Make
only
your
did
bed.
it here because I had to listen to everyone bitch at 7 a.m.
Oh, wow. No, good stuff, guys. This has been great. We could talk for hours and hours, but we got lives. We got to get back to our wives and kids and in life. But I can't thank you guys enough. You mean the world to me, every one of you.
Right back at you, Todd.
Like truly, we're not different. And I didn't even look at you differently, even when you were in treatment. I'm like, man, we're the same. We're clean this very moment. We're doing our best to be honest and have integrity and be accountable. We're doing our best to help other people. We're the exact same. We're no different. I may at the time have been further down the road than you guys of being clean. That's it. That was the only difference between us. That is it. And I hope you guys felt that from me. And just how much I love you guys and respect you, and so glad you're doing well. And sorry that Ryan's no longer here, but he is here, like you said.
He is.
And I love that. And that story was amazing. But know that we have each other's backs. If you need anything, I'm here for you, as always. I want to do one last thing. If someone wanted to reach out to you guys who's listening to this, is that cool if they reached out to you?
100%.
So Trevor, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you? And then even if they need help for treatment, how would they get a hold of you at Wasatch Crest?
Yeah, you can just call me on my work cell, 801-879-9886. And I work with all the other facilities that are local, from Ogden down to St. George. So if we're not the right fit, I can help get you in somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I love about that is we help network with each other and we help each other out. And hey, if we're not a fit, we'll send them to Wasatch Crest or we'll send them here or there. So
it's a tight knit group. Yeah,
tight knit group. Thanks, man. How about you, Zeb?
Easiest, only social media platform I have is probably Instagram, and it's just Zeb Hasna 24, and that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Right on. Is it 24 for
It's Kobe.
Kobe?
My sobriety date is actually 08/24 too, so I was
Nice.
holding on.
Yeah,
to
and
that.
Zeb
Yeah.
used to post pictures of Kobe for each sobriety date, holding up his rings that
Yep,
he won.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Second greatest player of all time.
Yep. There's no debate.
I mean, I know Jordan. I know Jordan's the best. He's my favorite athlete,
I'm
but
just
I
kidding, yeah.
wasn't old enough. I genuinely got to watch Kobe's whole career.
I know. I'm
We
just
used to get
teasing you,
heated
dude.
about that.
Yeah, he's like, okay, what do I do? Do I hit Todd or do I? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Steph.
Yep.
How about you, Dustin? Well, how would someone get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you?
You can always email me, Dustin Grigg, DustinGrigg 91 at Gmail, or you can just follow me on my Instagram. Just my name, my title is the Griggles, so
Nice, the Griggles.
yeah. So
Nice.
reach out.
Yeah.
We're always here to
Yeah.
help, to listen, to guide, whatever
Yeah.
you guys need.
You guys are living proof that we can overcome anything. Honestly, like it's amazing. I often believe people are astonishing. You guys are astonishing. Like, I know that's a big word, but I really believe that. I look at people sometimes and go, man, people are just astonishing. You guys should not be here. You shouldn't be here, but you are. You know what I mean? You should not be here.
I'm going to speak on behalf of all of us, but I hope you know that we're all a product of you.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
The people that I look at that have come through Wasatch that have, long-term recovery or whatever you want to call it, are products of Todd Sylvester.
Yeah.
And everything that I do in my life is trying to mimic the things that you taught us and utilize the things you taught us. So we're miracles and we're alive right now, but a lot of that is because of you. And I know you're going to say you did the work and all the other stuff, but we wouldn't have been able to do the work without you. So
Yeah, you
Yep.
guiding us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
forging that path.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're all standing on shoulders of giants. That's why we're here. I'm standing on shoulders of giants of people who helped me get to where I'm at. And you're a part of that too as well. I mean, I learned just from you guys as well, but I appreciate the kind words, Trevor, but I also learned a ton from you guys. And I still do, and I love your passion, Dustin. This guy, I love it, man. This guy I love it. And I just, Zeb, I've always looked up to you. Obviously, I trust you. I mean, I bought a car from you because I love you. And, and Trevor, dude, I have clients come through here that they're like, oh yeah, this guy's my mentor. And they're talking. I'm like, well, who's your mentor? It's Trevor. I'm like, oh, wow. So you're doing a lot of good out there, man. It's really cool to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you know that. And shout out to your wives
Yeah.
for putting up
right.
with you hooligans.
Yeah.
God bless them.
But they're lucky also to have you. So anyway, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thanks for having
so
us.
much.
Yeah, thank
this
you.
was awesome.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. Thanks for tuning in, man. This was beautiful. Hope you felt the love and the spirit of this whole conversation. If you have a son or a daughter or a loved one who's struggling, please share this episode with them. A lot of times we struggle on how do we approach someone who's struggling. Send them the link to this episode, and it'll break the ice, and you can follow back up with them and ask them what did they think, and it'll open up a conversation. So please share it with them. Thank you for all your support. Again, shout out to my sponsors. I love you guys. Thank you for believing in me. And for all of you tuning in week after week, please subscribe, like, and share with other people. It means a lot because the more we can get people hearing these, the more lives that we can touch. Love you guys. Until next time, all right? Take care.